And also, dude, I don't know if I've told you the story yet about my buddy who's a head coach down in Florida and his interaction with Jimbo and Saban.
Mm.
So my buddy, I asked him if I could tell the story. I told him I'd leave out some details.
Yeah.
But essentially, you know, he sent Christian Leary to Bama. Like, he's very familiar. He's interacted with Saban a bunch because he had Leary last year. They have another, depending on the service you look at, 4 or 5-star running back this year named Cedric Baxter. I think CJ Baxter.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, the best of the best coaches are coming through there, and I texted him because he's also a Florida State guy. The way I know him is I went to Florida State with him.
Yeah.
And so
and he's a head coach already. He's your age.
Yeah, and a damn good one. He coaches Edgewater, who they've been in the state championship game the last 2 years. Played against St. Thomas Aquinas, which is like a national powerhouse.
Right.
And so ended up losing both, but very good program. And he's taken it from like a low spot. So, anyways, he in January. So this was just this past January, before any of this stuff with had bubbled up this past week. He had Jimbo in his office with James Coley, and they were, you know, it's there to recruit Baxter. And my buddy's like, look, he's like, I don't care what the services have. I know for a fact that this kid is the #1 running back on Texas A&M, Texas, Florida, Miami, all their boards.
Right.
And he's like, you know, there's a hard push for him. And, you know, NIL is definitely a factor. Like, that's,
as it should be.
And so I was texting him about that when Jimbo came out. It's like, we don't, you know, induce and all that. And he was like, so Jimbo was in my office, and there's another high school right down the road with 2 top 100 players at it.
Right.
And he was going to go there next. And just so happened, same day, Saban was slated to fly the chopper in to the other school, see those kids, and then they're going to flip flop.
Right.
Well, Saban was going to land at the other school, and they happened to be on a lockdown for something. And so they called over and they're like, hey, we're going to come to your school early. And he was like, Coach, that's totally fine. He's like, but, you know, Jimbo's here in my office. He's like, well, we're coming.
Tell me to get the fuck out.
Yeah. So my buddy hangs up, and he's like, he goes back to Jimbo, and he's like, and keep in mind, like, again, he's a Florida State guy. Like, Jimbo was our coach, you know? And he said they were catching up. Him and Coley were catching about Florida State stuff. And he comes back and he's like, Coach, just to let you know, I'm pretty sure Coach Saban's coming over here early. And, you know, he's like, you know, Jimbo, he's like, I ain't leaving. He's like, I'm supposed to go over there. If they're locked down, then I'll just stay my ass here. And so it was like a standoff.
Right.
And, you know, I won't get into specifics, but he's like, Jimbo's like dog cussing Saban before he even gets there.
No.
Saban, yeah.
No way.
Saban comes in, and, you know, my buddy said,
Jimbo, how are you?
It was the most awkward, like, just 20 minutes. Like, so he said, I have chairs everywhere in my office because there's usually a lot of coaches that come through. He goes, no one sat down for 20 minutes. Just these guys pacing around. And, you know, he got into some other, it's a long story at this point, but essentially Saban was like, all right, we're just going to leave.
Right.
And, you know, he left, and of course Jimbo's gets cranked up again. And he said it was just crazy to see this like unfold in his office in a high school. He's just like, it was the most insane thing. These 2 coaches who were top 5 coaches, just you could tell.
And who instigated it? Who instigated it?
I don't really know.
Who started talking shit?
I mean, yeah, of course.